Shalom everyone, and welcome to the Chef Prepper channel. My name is Les, and in today's video we're going to go over one or two reasons why you should consider being a prepper. We're going to look at some historical events that have taken place. We're also going to consider a potential future event that could take place. As we look at these, we're not going to go over all the details, just going to briefly summarize a few things. I think you'll find them interesting, and they are very relevant to the world of prepping. Then at the end, I'll give you the two reasons why you should be a prepper. So as we go through this, I'm going to go to my computer screen, and we're going to look at some things, read a few things. It won't take too long, but just to make sure that we are aware of some things. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to look at is the infamous Black Death. And on your screen you can see the Black Death, also known as the plague, was a bubonic plague. It happened roughly from 1346 to 1353. It's the most fatal pandemic recorded in human history. And there's a key word, isn't it? Pandemic. The most fatal pandemic recorded in human history, resulting in the deaths of 75 to 200 million people. Okay, continuing on. The Black Death was the second disaster affecting Europe, but our key point here, it is estimated to have killed 30 to 60% of Europe's population. That would surely be a TEOTWAWKI type of situation, wouldn't it? So, the Black Death was not a good thing. Could something like this happen again? But notice here on the page on the screen now, the Black Death was the beginning of the second plague pandemic. So if this was the second, then what was the first? And we will find it here. Been three major outbreaks of the plague. But the first one on a large scale was the plague of Justinian in the 6th and 7th centuries. Modern estimates suggest that half of Europe's population died as a result of this first plague. This is not the Black Plague, this is Justinian's plague. Half of Europe's population died as a result of this. Wow. So next thing we're going to look at briefly is called the Great Famine of 1315. The Great Famine started with bad weather in spring 1315. Crop failures lasted through 1316 until the summer harvest in 1317. And Europe did not fully recover until 1322. But look at this, folks. Crop failures were not the only problem. Cattle disease caused sheep and cattle numbers to fall as much as 80%. The period of the Great Famine was marked by extreme levels of crime, disease, mass death, and even cannibalism and infanticide. The Great Famine may have been precipitated by a volcanic event, perhaps that of Mount Tarawera in New Zealand, which lasted about 5 years. Changing weather patterns, the ineffectiveness of medieval governments in dealing with crisis. Good thing our governments today are not like that, huh? And a population level at a historical high made it time for little margin for error in food production. Are you producing food at your home, farm, wherever now? Just a little more about this Great Famine. Starting here, in the spring of 1316, continued to rain on a European population deprived of energy and reserves to sustain itself. All segments of society, from nobles to peasants, were affected, but especially the peasants, who represented 95% of the population and who had no reserve food supplies. Do you have reserve food supplies? I hope you do. To provide some measure of relief, the future was mortgaged by slaughtering the draft animals, eating the seed grain, abandoning children to fend for themselves, and among old people, voluntarily refusing food for the younger generation to survive. The chroniclers of the time noted many incidents of cannibalism. Moving on to the next paragraph. The height of the famine was in 1317, as the wet weather continued. Finally, in that summer, the weather returned to its normal patterns. By then, however, people were so weakened by diseases such as pneumonia, bronchitis, and tuberculosis, and so much of the seed stock had also been eaten, it was not until 1325 that the food supply returned to relatively normal levels. Okay, think of that. This famine began in 1315. It's 10 years before food production and supplies go back to normal. Wow, 10 years of a lack of food, or very diminished amounts of food. Think about that, folks. Are famines a thing of the past? Well, let's look at this one for just a moment. The Great Chinese Famine. The Great Chinese Famine was from 1959 to 1961, and yes, that's been several decades ago, but that's still in our modern time. The Great Chinese Famine is widely regarded as the deadliest famine and one of the greatest man-made disasters in human history, with an estimated death toll to starvation that ranges in the tens of millions, 15 to 55 millions, according to this here. Look at this. The major contributing factors in this famine were the policies. That would be the government's policies, in addition to some natural disasters such as drought. Okay, another period of time that we can briefly look at is referred to as the Little Ice Age. The Little Ice Age was a period of cooling that occurred after the medieval warm period. It wasn't a true ice age, but now with the Little Ice Age, I couldn't find numbers on how many deaths were caused, but it wasn't a good time. And I wanted to show you this while we're still on the Little Ice Age. Several causes have been proposed. Look at these proposed causes: cyclical lows in solar radiation, heightened volcanic activity, changes in the ocean circulation, variations in Earth's orbit and axial tilt, inherent variability in global climate. These things have all been proposed as a cause of what's called the Little Ice Age because, why? These things happen from time to time. They happen. And yes, they could happen again. And the last thing we're going to look at has to do with the dreaded EMP attack. And this is an article named EMP, Manhattan Project, Organizing Survival Against an Electromagnetic Pulse Catastrophe. And here in this article goes on to say, an attack on the nation's electric grid from a solar storm, terrorist or enemy, would have a devastating impact even if it lasted just one day. Congress and the Pentagon have been warned. A one-day blackout would cost the lives of 574 due to a lack of emergency medical equipment powered by electricity and result in a societal cost of $35.7 billion. And, according to a new compilation of official EMP reports, the probability that an electromagnetic pulse attack would last much longer, possibly resulting in lights out for a year. This would result in over 200 million deaths. That's in our country alone. It goes on to say here in the article, in calling for a Manhattan Project to protect the grid, William R. Graham, chairman of the Commission to Assess the Threat to the United States from Electromagnetic Pulse Attacks, said, 326 million Americans cannot long survive bereft by EMP of the electronic civilization that sustains their lives. A nationwide blackout lasting 1 year could kill millions, perhaps prove fatal to most Americans, by starvation, disease, and societal collapse. So, that was a few things from history, and the EMP is a potential future event. And it would seem that all these things, any one of these things, would be a good reason to get prepared. But I didn't show you these things as being the number one reason, the number two reason, and so on. I showed you these things so that we could talk about the top two reasons why you should be a prepper. And they're going to come at these reasons, we're going to come at them from two completely different viewpoints. Some of you will agree with one, some with the other, some with both. But let's move on. So if you're into preparedness, you're probably into getting prepared for such events as we've talked about, or any number of other events on a earth-wide scale, national scale, or local scale. But I would think that you're probably doing the preparedness, if you're doing it, because you care about your loved ones and you want them to survive the aftermath of a SHTF type of event. So now that we've talked about some of these things that have happened and could happen again, let's consider this, what I'm going to show you on the screen. And it is, in the future, a history lesson. So let's go to the screen. Okay, and so here we are. You're quite a bit of a ways in time removed from today, and the things we're talking about, just for example, one of those things we just looked at repeats itself somewhere in the coming next 4 or 5 years. And so we have in today's history lesson, in the future, your descendants perhaps, the great world-changing disaster of 2025. The event that changed the world in a way unlike any other event in world history. The population of the planet was nearly 8 billion people, and now 100 years later, the population is starting to climb rapidly again. Just this past year, in 21-25, the world population has once again exceeded 100 million people. So here is the number one, or one of the two reasons that you should be a prepper, so that when a history lesson similar to what we're looking at right here is being studied in schools 100 years from now or 50 years from now, that your descendants will be reading about that event rather than other people reading about you and your loved ones being part of the data or the statistics. That's, in my thinking, one of the main reasons, one of the two main reasons to get prepared for such events that could take place. Now, moving on to the other most important reason. And now for the second reason you should be a prepper, and in my opinion, the most important of the two, we go to the scriptures of the Bible. And this is from the book of Matthew, chapter 24. And the Messiah is talking to his disciples. And they come to him, as he was in verse 3, chapter 24. And as he, the Messiah, sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when will these things be? What shall be the sign of your coming, which we know is his return, and of the end of the world? Okay, it's not really the end of the world, it's the end of the age. The world isn't going to end. It's going to change, but it's not going to end. So that's the question. When are you coming back? So the second reason that you could and should be a prepper is that perhaps you, me, we will be able to see the return of the Messiah when he cleans this place up and sets things in its proper order. So there you go. Two reasons from two different points of view, two ways of thinking, two reasons to be a prepper. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for sticking with me through this video. And I would like to ask you, if you can, to hit the like button. It will help us out. And don't forget to subscribe. And we will be doing a lot more videos on cooking, various types of stoves, fuels, ways to save resources. So until we see each other again, shalom and take care.